Shalom, Akim. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Akakwadash, the honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect. I want to get into a real quick reply to the elder brother Yashawamba's video entitled "The Israelites Never Lost Their Identity." And as you see, there are question marks because it's it's somebody from one of his previous videos who was a follower of vocab alone made that statement. Whoever made that statement doesn't understand the scriptures, because all throughout the scriptures it speaks about how our people will be scattered. As a matter of fact, from all the way, when you go from the book of Deuteronomy, you could say damn near from the very beginning, the Lord said if we will not follow his ways, we would receive curses. One of the curses being we would be scattered. Okay, and we would not return into our land until Yahweh Shai comes back. Hey, because most people don't read the Bible, they make particular statements off of their flesh, off of what they want to be true. And these demons, they know what we preach, and therefore they have to come up with a doctrine outside of the scriptures of their own heart that can try to rebuttal that which we preach. But the scriptures say in Acts the 5th chapter, if it be of the Most High, you cannot overthrow it, lest you find yourself to fight against the Heavenly Father. And the scriptures say, he that hate me love death. So you fighting a battle that's going to get you hurt. And it's not a threat. It's just, hey, the Lord said it. All right, so nevertheless, this is Jeremiah. Quick lesson. Jeremiah chapter 9, verse 13. All right, and it's basically reiterating what the Lord said in Deuteronomy 28. And Yahweh saith, because they have forsaken my law, which I have set before them, and have not obeyed my voice, neither walked therein, but have walked after the imagination of their own heart, and after Baalim, which their fathers taught them. Therefore thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the power of Israel, behold, I will feed them, even this people, with wormwood, or bitterness. Okay? And this is why to this very day, all you see is death, destruction, all right? People strung out on drugs, wherever you live at, poverty, women are prostitutes, all right? That's you being fed with wormwood and give them water of God to drink. And that goes back into Deuteronomy 28. Let me see. Let me see. Slock it. 1 second. Deuteronomy 28. Look for it. Deuteronomy 28 and 28. Actually, I'll start at 27. Yahweh shall smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emerods and the scab, and with the itch whereof thou canst not be healed. All right, this is why, our people suffer so many diseases from, being born as a crack baby, you know, to diabetes, all of that, you know, which Egypt, let's look at, let's get some definitions. Yahweh will smite thee with the botch of Egypt. All right, the word botch is a inflamed spot, inflammation. All right, eruption of man, leprosy of man and beast. All right, so our people suffer with arthritis and with the emerods, the hill mount, fort, stronghold, hemorrhoids. Our people suffer from that, and of course, you can say, well, all people suffer from that, but our people, when you go into heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, that's our people. And that's mainly due to the foods that we consume and which was passed down to us from generation all the way from slavery. All right, that soul food, even food that the so-called Hispanics eat, which is their rendition of soul food. And with the scab and with the itch, all right, Jake suffering from all types of STDs, whereof thou canst not be healed. Yahweh will smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. All right. Every other day in your neighborhood, somebody's getting shot and killed. You know. Every stoplight you go to, you find a fiend, laid out. Damn near slouching all the way to the ground. Every time you turn on the news, it's somebody you knew. Or some shooting in your neighborhood. All right. Even Jake to this day, they brag about being a murder capital. All right. And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. And, when you look at even those followers of this guy, Vocab Balloon, you have Jakes, you so-called black Hispanics and Native Americans, well, primarily so-called blacks, who is following this guy, which proves just that you're groping at noonday, because here it is, this truth is coming out, all right, that the Most High is going to save you, and you're looking to still, hold the hand of the oppressor, hold the back pocket of the oppressor, if you will, all right, because you're groping at noonday. Okay, so now when we go back to Jeremiah 9, and 15, we understand when it says, behold, I will feed them, even this people, with wormwood. Wormwood is bitter. All right. Everything that's effed up about the society is all of messed up laws. Those laws are written towards you to keep you down and oppressed, to keep your life hanging in doubt. Thus saith the curses that we just read. And give them water of gall to drink. I will scatter them also among the heathen, whom neither they nor their fathers have known. And I will send a sword after them till I have consumed them. All right, now during this lesson, I was thinking about going into this book. Let me just show brothers real quick. All right, this book is entitled Bartholomew de las Casas, A Brief Account of the Destruction of the Indies. Now, when you go into see if brothers could see that, it says, well, you know what, real quick, I want to read because this is a quick synopsis, this book. I don't know if brothers could see that, but it says popery truly displayed in its bloody colors, or a faithful narrative of the horrid and unexampled massacres, butcheries, and all manner of cruelties that hell and malice could invent committed by the popish Spanish party on the inhabitants of the West India, together with the devastations of several kingdoms in America by fire and sword for the space of 42 years from the time of its first discovery by them. Okay, so and it goes into the different places that these devils, these Spaniards, these Europeans came and colonized. Hispaniola, which we know today is Dominican Republic, St. John, Jamaica, Cuba, Nicaragua, Spain, New Spain, it says, Guatemala, other province, Cartagena, which I believe that's in Colombia. It says Venezuela, which I believe is Venezuela. The Pearl Coast, no, Slovakia. The Pearl Coast is Venezuela. Paria and Trinity Islands, which is Trinidad, right off the coast of Venezuela. And they show you in this book, as we read in the scriptures, man, that our people would be scattered, all right, and oppressed evermore. You know. So, real quick, with that, I want to get two videos, two quick videos. I'm going to play a little bit of it. All right, because hey, you got our people.
¿Y si te digo tres tristes tigres? Trigan trigo en un trigal. Como un buen vecino, State Farm está ahí. What does that even mean?
All right, it says Afro, Latino, and proud. So this is our people lost. All right, because here it is. At one point, you were forced to speak Spanish. You were forced to leave your ways, and now you're proud to call yourself a Latino. All right, you're proud to call yourself a language. All right, a Latino is someone who speaks the Latin language. So technically, a Roman would be a Latino. A Spaniard would be a Latino. So you are proud to speak the language of your oppressor. All right, and hey, that scripture's all the way. All right, so if you ask yourself, was our people scattered? All right, going back into Jeremiah 9:16, I will scatter them also among the heathen, whom neither they nor their fathers have known. Going again back to Deuteronomy 28, I believe that's verse 45. Let's grab it. Yeah, I started at 45. It says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and pursue thee and overtake thee. All right. So thou be destroyed. Even you have the so-called blacks in Africa. Guess what? When Esau, finished putting a foot in so-called Hispanics' ass, they came over to Africa to bring you into slavery. This is why you have dark-skinned Dominicans. This is why you have dark-skinned Brazilians, dark-skinned Cubans. All right, so thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever, because thou servest not Yahweh thy power with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things. Therefore thou shalt serve thine enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness and in want of all things. As a matter of fact, you just had it recently to where over there in Venezuela, which is normally that's a place of much oil, but they had to get oil, I believe, from Russia, if I'm not mistaken. I think either Russia or Iran. This came out recently. So the fact that, hey, the scriptures don't lie, all right? For one of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, all right? the Atlantic slave trade, the triangular slave trade. All right, our people were scattered throughout all four corners of the earth. All right, even from over there in Africa, our people were scattered to what? Portugal, again Spain, Japan, you name it. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from the end of the earth. All right, because you were over here in Americas, and these other nations was over there in, in the Far East, in Spain. As swift as the eagle flieth. All right, these men came with multitudes of ships. Not to talk. All right, like they show you in that movie at the end of the movie Apocalypto, they came with a multitude of ships. And you could see it in that I forgot the guy's name, the main character, in his eyes. Hey, something wasn't right. Flieth, it says, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Because they were speaking what? Spanish. And you were speaking, Arawak and Taino. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor shew favor to the young. And hey, going back into this book, I was just showing brothers, you have the so-called Indian looking man with fire around him, man. Because that's what these devils came with. They came with fire. All right. Fire meaning that sword that ready to put people to death. Even after they got what they wanted. Even after they got the gold, even after the the so-called Indians at the time treated them with much brotherly love. All right, so they beat them into submission to now where they're eating their foods, they're speaking like them. All right, they're wearing the blonde hair. So it says, I will scatter them also among the heathen, whom neither they nor their fathers have known, back at Jeremiah 9:16. And I will send a sword after them till I have consumed them. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, consider ye and call for the mourning woman that they may come, and send for cunning women that they may come. And let them make haste and take up a wailing for us, that our eyes may run down with tears, and our eyelids gush out with waters. For a voice of wailing is heard out of Zion. How are we spoiled? We are greatly confounded, because we have forsaken the land, because our dwellings have cast us out. And this is a very sad thing, man. Afro, Latino, and proud. All right. So now,
have you recently lost your health coverage? Don't sign up for Cobra. You can get a health insurance plan with...
So I'm going to just let her speak, and I'm going to just end it out, okay? So as you see, it says, I am not Latina. Calling ourselves Latino means genocide, Mexican excellence.
I am not Latina. Yo no soy Latina. Simply speaking, the Spanish language does not make me part of Europe. Speaking English doesn't make me part of Europe. These two languages have been forced on my people for the last 500 years. Whether you are from Colombia, Venezuela, Honduras, Guatemala, a reservation in Arizona, Mexico City, you have been kept ignorant, subservient to European culture. We are victims of colonialism. A colonialism that began in 1492. We are not the children of Cortez. We are not the people that came on La Pinta, La Niña, La Santa Maria. We have nothing to do with Spain. We are the indigenous people of this continent who are falsely called Hispanic and Latino as a way to kill our indigenous identity and history. We are supposed to disappear like the wind. We are supposed to shatter like the damn ground that we walk on. We are supposed to be turning into ashes. We're not supposed to exist. This is not part of the game plan for the Europeans. And here we are, ignorant of who we are, dyeing our hair blonde, hating who we are, putting blue-green eye contacts, watching novelas of a bunch of bleach blonde women being served by full-blooded indigenous people. Spanish is being glamorized as the most exotic language, and we take pride in it as if it belonged to us. As if our people weren't killed to speak Spanish, like if our people weren't forced to speak Spanish, like if our people weren't raped for the last 5 centuries to exist as Spanish-speaking slaves of Europeans. Whether you speak English or Spanish, those languages are not us and they do not define us. You see, before we spoke English and Spanish, we were actually speaking languages that reflected us, like Nahuatl, Yoemi, Quiche. We spoke languages that reflected who we were. We had languages, we had names that reflected who we were. We had a worldview that reflected on us, the reflection of the Creator.
And in part, that is correct, because our people knew more so of who they were. When you go into the book of 2nd Ezra real quick, all right, because our people, our lineage goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, so we came over here knowing who we were. This is 2nd Ezra 13 and 41. But they took this counsel among themselves. Actually, I'll start at verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes, otherwise known as the 10 lost tribes, the so-called Hispanics, so-called Native American Indians, all right, which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osea the king, whom Shalmaneser, which is Shalmaneser the fifth, the king of Assyria, led away captive. All right, so from 700, all right, let's say roughly 720 BC, our people were taken out of our homeland, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt, because at this point in time, everybody was living on the eastern part of the world. So they came over to what? The western part of the world, to the Americas, that they might there keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land. And they enter into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river, for the Most High then shewed signs for them, and held still the flood, so they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth. Then dwelt they there until the latter time. Now when they shall begin to come, the highest shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they might go through. Therefore sawest thou the multitude with peace. Okay, so our people came over here knowing who they were, all right, and of course they ended up going off too, but point still stands, all right, is that, you know, they still had some sort of reverence of who they were. You know, they had some sort of the customs about themselves were that of Hebrew Israelites. You know, even this guy James Adair said so. You know, when he studied us, and he said that there's no doubt that we had particular ways about us that resemble those of the Hebrews in the scriptures. All right. But again, over a course of time, all right, in the 1400s, all right, the Spaniards came over, as we just read, and they beat that out of them, or out of us.
But these last 5 centuries of systematic ignorance and this education that only reinforces white supremacy has us confused, lost. But we are here. We are the survivors of the world's biggest genocide, where 95% of our population was wiped out. And yet we have no idea. We have no clue. Our parents don't know. They have been working so hard in the fields. A lot of them didn't even finish preschool, middle school. But here we are, survivors, in our own right, in our own land, homeless on our own land. We are Nicantlaka. We are the indigenous people of this continent. We have been divided by false borders. We have been divided by false languages. We are working in the Mexica movement to create an establishment, this unity, Tahuantinsuyu Nation, Mexica movement, all the way from North and South America. This is our continent, separated by European borders. We walk ignorantly of who we are. We look down on the ground and don't even realize that it is ours. We are the Nicantlaka people, and we are learning the truth. Mexica movement, we invite you. Join us in this liberation, the true decolonization of our mind. We are colonized. We do not accept it. We have to fight it, resist it with everything that you have. We are not products of Europe. We are not the children of Cortez. We are not the people that came on La Niña, La Pinta, La Santa Maria. We are the indigenous people that stood before them for 5 centuries. This is who we are. But we're taught to be fake white people, a fake imitation of who they are. But we're not. No matter how hard we try to be white, our ancient connection is far too deep to be bleached away by self-hate. Let's love ourselves. Let's learn who we are. Let's decolonize ourselves. Brothers and sisters, Mexican, Central American, South American, Native American, we are one. One people under occupation by European colonization. We are not Hispanic. We are not Latino. We are not Indians because we are not from India. We are the indigenous people from this land. We are Nicantlaka. We are Nicantlaka. Nicantlaka. We are the survivors of the biggest genocide. And we are making sure that we not only survive, but that we wake up and begin to live a true liberating life.
So with that, shalom to the elect.